Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the All New 52 podcast. I am Joe. This is Caleb. We like comics and talking about comics on this show. And Caleb has brought us some very interesting comics today.
I most certainly have. Let me grab my phone so I have the names.
Okay.
This is DC Comics Presents, a series that started in the late 70s and then went for a couple years in the 80s. It was edited by Julius Schwartz, and just, the different cavalcade of DC writers and artists at the time were brought on to do books, and then whichever books they kind of got first, they put out. And so it's Superman with various DC characters. Our theme this time was like supernatural characters who would appear in Justice League Dark. So we had Swamp Thing, which also featured Solomon Grundy, Dr. Fate, Deadman,
The Spectre,
and Madame Xanadu.
Yeah, it's Superman teaming up with a bunch of people that I'm sure not many people are very familiar with.
But there were also he would team up with the Flash and Batgirl. But when I was going through the dollar bin, those were not the ones that interest me.
So we've got a lot to talk about today.
Yes, we do.
Because these are wacky.
Yeah, they are.
Shall we start with Swamp Thing and voice crack? Shall we start with Swamp Thing and Solomon Grundy?
Yeah, why not? So Swamp Thing and Solomon Grundy. That was written by Steve Englehart with artist Murphy Anderson. And that's the thing I need to point out here. These are not their B team of writers. Steve Englehart, I don't know DC's artist pool that well from the 80s, but I know their writer pool, and Steven Englehart was a get.
Okay. This follows Superman following Solomon Grundy through the sewers, and not having much luck, and then Swamp Thing shows up. He's like, the Solomon Grundy guy. Maybe I can figure out how to
become human from him.
Do science things with his skin.
Well, he's like, I heard Solomon Grundy came alive in a swamp. I am a Swamp Thing. Maybe I can too become alive again.
So Swamp Thing scurries off with Solomon Grundy after. I don't know if beating Superman is what happens. I really can't tell what goes on in that fight.
Superman's trying to kill Solomon Grundy, and Swamp Thing's trying to stop him, which ends up with Superman ripping off Swamp Thing's arm on accident and being like, well, he doesn't seem hurt, so I'm just going to go about this. And then Solomon Grundy knocking out Superman.
Then they scurry off, and Solomon Grundy's like, you're my friend, even though you can't talk.
Yeah.
They're just on good terms with each other. Superman goes back up to the surface, ogles at Lois Lane for a little bit, and then all of a sudden another Solomon Grundy shows up, so he kills him.
Yeah, this is the weird continuity stuff that they don't explain well. Apparently there's something in the sewers that creates Solomon Grundys.
There's 30 Solomon Grundys by the end of this book.
There are so many Solomon Grundys.
And then midway through, Superman's like, I had an easy time with the original Solomon Grundy of Earth 2, but this one's a little tougher.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the original, I know what Crisis is and all that, but it's just the original of the second planet.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because the second planet is
the original.
Yeah. Their numbering system doesn't make sense.
They shouldn't have put that in. That's continuity that this book didn't need.
It's just, I do really love going back to older comics and having characters constantly narrating. It can be a little exhausting at points, but it's also just really funny. And I heard someone say one time that Superman just needs to have one thought balloon in a comic where he's like, I don't think that much anymore, because he is always thinking in these. Also, Swamp Thing has regrown his arm, so he has a little pterodactyl arm. It's really funny. He's doing science with a big arm and a pterodactyl arm.
And then at the end, so they make this, I don't know, Solomon Grundy killing cure. I really don't know what it is. It gets wrapped up very quickly. Superman flies around the sewers. He's like, I gotta be careful. I don't want to hurt Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
And then it just ends.
Well, and Swamp Thing is like, before Superman takes off, I need to run over to him and stop him, because even Swamp Thing needs to live, because I'm a monster too. And he fails. And Superman kills all the Grundys, and Swamp Thing just has to leave.
It's so weird.
It's such a dark ending. Also, there's a part where Batman's like, Superman calls Batman because he's like, oh, I can trust Swamp Thing. Batman says he's cool. And then Swamp Thing, makes it so Solomon Grundy can escape. And so he calls Batman, but he calls him from his belt. He doesn't have like an earpiece. And so I just like to imagine now that people walk in on Superman. He's just looking down at his belt going, hey, Bruce, what's up? Doing good? Cool.
And midway through all of this, Wonder Woman has a run-in with some villains over the delicious Hostess Twinkies.
Was that this one? Because
It was Wonder Woman this time. Because
Okay.
I thought the story ended because it came to like a point where it's like maybe this guy continued another book, and I was like, oh, it's a Wonder Woman issue now. And then I get to bottom. Oh, it's a Hostess ad.
Yeah, a Hostess fruit pie ad, which Hostess fruit pies did us all a great service by having their ads in comic books. I've seen many memed,
Oh yeah.
especially when Aunt May becomes the golden granny for Galactus. But these are, I just love how like there's so much plot packed into this Wonder Woman one where she's like, I have to save like the treasure of Aphrodite. Oh no, it's a trap. Oh no, they've stunned me. Guess what? I've tricked them with Hostess fruit pies. And then it ends with them flying like tied up in the invisible plane. And they're like, we're going to jail, but at least we have Hostess fruit pies.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. So this first one, it's a story.
It's pretty great.
It's the exact level of goofiness I was hoping from these. And the fact that like Swamp Thing has a like his story ends badly, I think is really funny.
I wouldn't even call it ending badly because you're just like he's just like dang it, and he just runs off.
Well, yeah, it's return to status quo for Solomon Grundy, or for Swamp Thing, and I guess Solomon Grundy too. But Swamp Thing just like he doesn't get what he wants, and Superman only sees him for like one panel of this entire thing.
Yeah,
It's pretty fun.
not much of a team up.
No, this one definitely on the lower end of the team up side.
Next up, we have
Dr.
Superman
Fate.
and Dr. Fate.
Yes, and this is written by Denny O'Neil with art by Joe Stanton and Vince Coletta. Okay, so Dr. Fate is in another universe, and he's trying to find a cure for his wife who has a curse on her, and so they're going back through like her ancestors. One of her ancestors is a pirateer who had the curse placed on him. His ship just vanishes one day. And so he's like, that's weird. I have to go into that wherever he went and solve this. So yeets himself out of that universe, goes into the in-between plane where he finds an imp who's like, or he's Irish. So he's like, oh, I'm a little Irish boy and I put a curse on that ship and I'm going to put a curse on you. And Dr. Fate's like, I'm Dr. Fate. That didn't really work for you, did it? And he goes, oh, guess I have to go back to my ship. So they go into the regular DC universe where Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane are at the Star Labs and they're like doing, a report on science.
And Clark Kent's in traffic.
Yes.
And he's like, great inner narration of, if I was Superman, I could fly over this, but now I'm stuck in traffic.
Wah, wah. Jimmy looks into one of the science machines and he's like, that's a ship. It's getting bigger. And so a pirate ship bursts out of the science equipment and onto the roof of Star Labs. And basically, Superman tries to stop the ship. He's enslaved by the pirates because they still have magic residue on him. He flies the ship to Town Hall where they're going to kill everyone because they think this is Spain. And then...
Oh, yeah. They're like, a man flying must be some kind of Spanish trick.
This is just like the Spaniards. And so Dr. Fate comes. He gets rid of the magic, beats the imp. Superman defeats the pirates. Dr. Fate, he's like, what's going on here, Dr. Fate? And Dr. Fate's like, no time to explain. Yeets himself in the ship back to the regular universe where I assume he finds a cure. And then Lois Lane's like, man, if you would give me information, I'd sure have a big scoop. And Superman's like, I don't got any. This one's probably the most boring one.
But with the best Hostess Twinkie ad of Batman getting subdued by the nefarious Catman.
The furious and famous Catman.
Until Robin jumps in with some Hostess ding-dongs to save the day.
Catman's an idiot because if that's all it takes to defeat him, like at least in the Wonder Woman
Sweet
one,
sugary treats.
at least in the Wonder Woman one, it's just like some goons. In this one, it's an actual villain. Albeit,
Granted, it's Catman.
yeah, it's Catman. So I like to think this is canonical. I did not think that the heroes could share even less time together than the Swamp Thing issue. They can.
Oh, they managed it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they managed it.
So yeah, this one was disappointing because it's
Dr. Fate.
Yeah,
he's
he's
pretty cool. Yeah.
Not here. The pirates were fun.
Next up, we have Superman and Deadman.
Yes, this was written by Len Wein, who made a lot of the X-Men, co-created a lot of the X-Men, and then art by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
It's a mouthful.
Yes, it is. It was fun seeing all the different times in the letters pages, all the different ways people abbreviated his name.
Well, we got Deadman with a quick little Spark Notes recap of his origin, his power set, what his little modus operandi. Modus operandi. I was going to say modus operandi, but I chickened out halfway through. We find out what his game is. He wants to die.
Yeah, he's tired of doing this.
He's tired of being dead. He wants to die.
Yeah. He's tired of doing this, so he's yelling at his goddess and being like, I tried to save someone and it didn't work. And she's like, okay, boo-hoo. Here's the deal. You do one more job for me and I'll put you to rest. And
so he goes to Metropolis, where he's like, I gotta find my good deed to do. There's a man getting almost crushed by falling debris. Tuck and roll!
Yeah. I love he possesses this geriatric man, probably gives him a lot of like spinal issues doing this acrobatics role. And then we cut to Superman, who's also helping out with the earthquake, and he's found the cause of it.
One old man who has heart problems.
Yes.
And he's also a scientist.
Yes.
So to fix his heart problems, he has made a device that he has one part attached to his heart, and then one part that is sent into the Earth's core, where the pulses will line up, and the healthy pulse of the Earth's core will keep his heart alive indefinitely. Problem is, he got it backwards. So every time he has a heart attack, the Earth has major earthquakes.
I love it. This is the level of goofiness I want from a Superman comic.
Yeah. From a 70s Superman comic.
So he gets taken to Star Labs. Deadman's just kind of floating there, like watching. It's like, this is interesting. And then the scientist's daughter's boyfriend,
Dennis,
the worst character in the DC universe, is like, this faulty piece of heart technology, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell it to a mobster who wants immortality. And so the mob comes after the scientist. Superman has gone off, so Deadman has to go catch him, which is when he possesses him, and that doesn't work out. But eventually, it ends with Superman's like fighting off the mobsters, and then Deadman goes into the scientist and fights the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, the Grim Reaper just showed up. He's like, I'm not going to let you get this guy. Pow!
It's great. Grim Reaper shows up twice in these comics.
That's what I love. I was about to mention.
Both
times hilarious.
Both written by Len Wein. It's great. It's a genuinely cool looking page too. I think this has the best. This and the we'll talk about art in a little bit, but this and the Spectre one, which is also drawn by Garcia Lopez, they have the trippiest and coolest imagery.
And then it all ends, and Deadman's like, maybe this ain't so bad. Maybe I can do some good.
Yeah. I also like the gangster who wants immortality just dies in the middle of the fight, and all his henchmen are like, I guess we'll give up now, even though that means we'll definitely go to jail.
Yeah, you killed the gold one in a swarm fight. The rest of them die. It's like it's video game logic.
Was this Hostess Fruit Pie ad the Green Lantern one?
It might have been the Aquaman one. I think it was the Aquaman and Mara one.
What was that one? There were just some sailors, and then they get surprised by Mara coming up with some fruit pies.
Yeah.
Not the strongest one, but definitely
still hilarious.
A bizarre thought experiment,
still
to be sure.
Too.
So the Spectre one.
This one this one that starts out with the wackiest premise too. This one starts out with a hilarious premise of Supergirl is unconscious, flying through space, flying through war world.
Well, that's how she ended up unconscious.
Okay. She busted through war world.
Yes,
through sheer momentum.
Her and Superman went to destroy war world, and
say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, And when they destroyed it, the blast knocked her unconscious. And because she was flying so fast, she just keeps flying.
So Superman's chasing after her. He's like, I gotta catch my cousin. I'm going so fast. Oh, there's the Spectre. And Spectre's like, halt. You're gonna see stuff you probably shouldn't see. What about Supergirl? She's unconscious. She's not gonna remember any of this. Now let me relive your deepest, darkest memories.
Also, I was wrong. The art in this one is not by Garcia Lopez. It's by Jim Starlin and Romeo Tanghal.
Jim Starlin's a pretty big.
Yeah. Which is also probably why it's pretty good. But yeah, Lin Wein comes back to write. Continue. Sorry.
And so, I really don't know why the Spectre puts Superman through this. To like mess with him? I really don't get it.
To teach him a lesson.
So he's like, how many times have you seen Krypton die? A bunch. Well, I'm going to make you do it again.
Well, specifically, how many times have you tried to stop it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then Grim Reaper shows back up. And Superman, sadly, is not Deadman. He cannot stop Grim Reaper from taking Pa Kent again.
You see him like raise the scythe and strike him down. Oh, it's so funny.
And then eventually he meets God. And God's like, have you learned your lesson?
Fancy font too.
And it's like, have you learned your lesson? God is just like a big glowing thing. And they don't call him God, but God. And then he's like, but I've learned my lesson, but I really want my cousin back.
And Spectre's just like, here you go.
That's all you had to do.
And then she wakes up, and that's the end of it.
Oh, he fights Bizarro at one point too. To teach him about like power without restraint is useless. It's also a circular story, which I like, because at the end, Supergirl's like, what happened? He's like, well, it all started with Mongol. And that's how the book begins. It's you didn't like this one as much.
No, I did like this one. This one was hilarious.
I thought you had implied you didn't like it. I love this one.
This one's so funny.
It's so like universe bending and trippy and stuff, but at such low stakes.
Yeah.
Because at the entire time you're like, hey, Superman, why don't you just ask Spectre to go back there and catch him? Hey, Superman, why are you hitting him? This isn't gonna work, Superman. Superman, you're an idiot.
This one's great.
Yeah.
A+.
Yes.
You got the Madame Xanadu one. I could not recap this for the life of me if I tried.
Okay. Madame Xanadu, written by Paul Kjolberg and artist Gary Morrow. I'd say the weakest of both in writing and art, this one.
I would agree.
Superman is having dreams where he is told to destroy everything he loves. Meanwhile, two people who are also having these dreams come to Madame Xanadu, and Madame Xanadu's like, I can help you, but there's one more person we need to wait on. Superman is going to like a news conference thing with Lana Lang, and he almost kills her accidentally. And is like, oh no, my dreams are becoming reality. And so he ends up at Madame Xanadu's to help him. Madame Xanadu does his tarot cards because that's kind of her thing, but doesn't actually tell us any information we didn't already know. And then they go into like a psychic realm where they fight a bad guy from a previous DC Comics Presents who is now trying to get revenge on Superman, and Superman has to face down the specter of his parents again, but not the character of the specter, just like the ghosts of them.
This ghost.
And then eventually Madame Xanadu's like, hey, I'm Madame Xanadu. You can't stop I'm gonna beat you, bad guy. Then Superman punches this person, even though he's not physical, he's just a psychic projection. And they all end up back at the shop. It's not good. It's actually quite bad. It's the most filler of all of them.
Yeah.
And
I'd say more so than the Dr. Fate one, because Dr. Fate's pretty lackluster and fillery.
Yeah, at least everything in the Dr. Fate one makes sense in the rules of that universe.
Yeah.
This one just doesn't. At the end, it's very much, well, Superman has beat him because we have reached our page count.
I have nothing to add to this.
One cool thing is that this is at the time where Superman was a news anchor. And so, like, get some of that. And it's just cool to see, like, at the beginning, he's a reporter. Now he's a news anchor. So you get to see the evolution of Superman from number whatever this one is, like
Eight.
16,
Eight.
8 to 63. So
That is definitely a 65.
yeah, the light was shining on it. Pretty disappointing. But I will say, better than most modern interpretations of Madame Xanadu, which is Constantine comes into her shop and she's like, I hate you. And he's like, read my tarot. That's basically all she does in the modern day.
Moving on to the art section. I don't imagine we'll have a lot to say about this.
Yeah.
It's 70s art. You either like it or you don't. I love the colors.
Colors are fun. I think when it's trippy, it's good.
Yeah, definitely.
So the Spectre and Dead Man one, I like a lot.
It's pretty busy otherwise.
Yeah. I think Solomon Grundy looks weird.
He looks hilariously
I can't say
off-model.
he looks off model because I don't know what he looked like in the 80s or the 70s.
He's all droopy looking.
The proportions are weird because he doesn't look like he's a bigger person. He just looks like they accidentally drew one person bigger than the others, if that makes sense.
So Swamp Thing also looks a little funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody else looks pretty all right.
Yeah, I think Madame Xanadu is the weakest just because it's the one that gets the laziest with the backgrounds. The character models are the most boring. The bad guy is just like a set of eyes. Like, it's the least interesting, but even then I wouldn't say it's technically bad.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I was afraid most of them would look like.
Pleasant surprise then.
Yeah.
So positives.
I mean, I think the premise of this is just a lot of fun. I like seeing Superman with various characters in the DC universe. The more obscure, the better. And I think that a lot of these characters are portrayed pretty well, pretty accurately to who they are. The Spectre's a little nicer than he usually is, but other than that, all good. I'd say the Deadman issue's by far the best.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love how wacky it all is. We've sung all the praises of the wackier the better. But it really shows. The wackier stories are definitely the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
Hostess cupcake ads, always a plus, especially when they're taken so seriously.
I also enjoyed reading the letter sections. Especially, I love it when they just put in a bad letter. Like there's one where it's like, Superman and Adam Strange was the second worst DC Comics book ever. And the editor's comment is, I wonder what the first one is. Never mind, I don't want to know.
I didn't read those, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, I would buy more of these if it was a character I was interested in. Like I know there's a Zatanna one I'll probably try to find in a dollar bin somewhere. These are fun.
This isn't a positive on the comic itself, but just the reading experience. It's so fun seeing some of these like time capsules of ads, like that very famous new Titans cover with the team everybody knows.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man and Superman team up like for the first time.
It's
wild.
There's some like Return of the Jedi ads in here. It's really cool.
That's just a time capsule thing. I can't give it as a positive to the comic though, but I did enjoy it.
No, I think that's the real benefit of these right now is them as time capsules because you get to see some writers who you probably know the name of or artists doing something kind of just outside of what they would normally do. You get to see some weird continuity things like the Earth 2 stuff, like the Clark Kent as a news reporter thing, and then you get the ads and the letters pages and stuff.
Fun stuff all around.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else more to add to the positive section?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah, I think our synopsis was a pretty good overall. Negatives. Madame Xanadu was really awful.
Yeah, and I guess that's what you're going to get in an anthology series, but that was really boring compared to the other four.
Yeah. Doctor Strange is kind of boring. I expected better. It's Doctor Strange. Not Strange.
Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate, yeah.
Dr. Hugo Strange, which I bet there's a DC Comics presents with Dr. Hugo Strange. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with Fate at this time in continuity. Maybe he didn't exist outside of... Maybe like he got wiped out during Crisis, and so they couldn't do like a really interesting version of him. They had to do like this parallel
Crisis wasn't
universe.
until the 80s though, wasn't it?
Well, whenever the Earth 2, Earth 1 split was.
Yeah.
I don't think that was Crisis, but because Crisis folded everything back in on itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So pre-Crisis. Oh, one more positive. I know we jumped into the negatives, but I like seeing Superman and all of his wacky powers. Obviously,
He does super surgery.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
He does super surgery. He does super trigonometry. Like, it's so much fun.
I'm just imagining Superman in some scrubs and like, all right, let's open it up.
This is the time in comics where Superman could do anything. Does that make for like the best long-term stories? No. Does that make for some fun individual stories?
Oh yeah. What a trip this was.
Yeah,
Thank you for getting these.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed them as much as you did.
So Caleb, we have approached our 1-year anniversary of the podcast.
We have.
Episode 35-ish episodes later, here we are with a lot of comics under our belt. So I have a very special book for you coming up.
Alrighty. I'll close my eyes. Forgot my bandana, so I couldn't close my eyes that way. But and viewers, if you would like to capture some of the magic of today's episode, all you have to do is go and get some Hostess Fruit Pies Twinkies. They are, not only do they have a great golden bun flavor, but also the delicious cream inside is like nothing you've ever tasted before. Oh no, is that Green Lantern saving some losers from a boulder? I don't know why I took my glasses off to close my eyes.
You've blinded yourself even more. I present you with a curse.
A curse of one white knight?
Indeed.
We're going back to the Murphyverse, boys and girls.
White Knight was the first comic that we did on the podcast. We both really like it.
This has Matt Hollingsworth, who was the colorist on Hawkeye.
Oh. Me and Caleb both love the Murphyverse, or the White Knight.
We've
read
never,
anything else.
Yeah, very specifically, we have never delved into the other parts of the Murphyverse.
I have been waiting for Curse of the White Knight to get collected for a very long time, and then even longer for it to get collected in a paperback instead of a hardcover, so that it matches up with my paperback of White Knight on the shelf. It finally happened, just in time too.
Which is perfect. So we'll be like covering something that's like semi-relevant too, which is exciting.
I mean, the comic ended 2 years ago.
Yeah, true. That's more semi-relevant than what we read today. So
that's true.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. I hope it continues my love for White Knight.
Yeah, I'm a little worried because White Knight does end in a very good place.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't need a sequel, but let us trust the Murphyverse.
Let's trust Sean Murphy, the good doctor that he is.
Alrighty.
Well, if you've liked what you've heard, give us good reviews on this podcast platform of your choice, the one you're listening to it right on, in fact, so that we can be bumped up in the charts and viewership so more people can join in on the comic book fun that we have. If you have suggestions or feedback or someone you want to hear us talk about that teamed up with Superman, you can do that by emailing allnew52podcast@gmail.com. We'll be back next week for the 1-year anniversary.
Absolutely. See y'all then.
Bye.